Good evening, everyone. Our top story tonight. Late this evening, prosecutors in Washington released some new information on evidence they plan to enter into Senator Ted Stevens' trial. According to our partners at the Anchorage Daily News, prosecutors say that in addition to the 7 charges that Stevens already faces, back in 2001, the senator also failed to report a $30,000 interest-free loan from a personal friend that Stevens used to flip a condo in Florida, which resulted in $100,000 in profits. The prosecutors also allege in 2005 that Bill Allen gave a new Jeep Cherokee to Stevens' daughter and that Stevens asked Vico for help getting a job for an unnamed son and grandson. Meanwhile, earlier today, lawyers for Senator Stevens fired back against the charges, saying his indictment violates the Constitution. According to the motions filed today, Stevens' lawyers say the FBI overstepped its bounds when it questioned members of his legislative staff. Well, the lawyers say that violates the speech and debate clause of the Constitution, which prohibits the executive branch from using its law enforcement authority to intervene with legislative business. Instead, Stevens' lawyers say that if there was a problem, it should have been investigated by the U.S. Senate. Well, the last time that we sat down with Senator Ted Stevens was 6 months ago inside his Girdwood home, before the federal indictment, before the nation was following his every move. Tonight, for the first time, Senator Stevens answers some very tough and at times uncomfortable questions about his federal indictment. We touch on Bill Allen, and we touch on the chalet in Girdwood and whether or not this has permanently tarnished his reputation. Well, surprisingly, we found the senator more confident than ever before.
If you were in trouble, you had some problem you want to solve, and you knew you had to go to Washington, who would you call? Who of all the people that are running for the Senate would you call?
Okay.
You know the answer?
I don't know. Tell me.
It can only be me.
Do you feel as though you can effectively run a campaign, re-election campaign, under federal indictment?
Yes, of course. I'm running it now.
Why do you feel like it's going to be effective with all of these things that we're hearing about? What do you think, honestly, it's going to be a strong, solid campaign despite?
I think I'm picking up votes by the day, and I'm not worried about it at all.
The day that the indictment came down, what was the first thought that went through your head?
My first thought was to call Catherine and find out if she knew about it. That's all.
Okay. Was she sad? Was she?
She knew about it.
She knew about it.
She had seen it in the legal stuff come across her desk.
Talk to me a little bit about your family when, if you feel comfortable, their response to the indictment. Were they scared?
No, you get into the areas. I'm a father, a fixed son, a grandfather of 11. I don't talk about my indictment to those children or my grandchildren. That's not what I talk to. I see them so seldom that when I'm with them, I want to enjoy the time with them, and they want to enjoy it with me. We don't talk about this within our family. That's not something you talk about at the dinner table in my family. We talk about what the kids did yesterday, or who are we going to call tomorrow, or where we're going to go next week, or what someone's got a new dress, or what are we going to do for Olivia's wedding. We're not talking about this indictment. You people in the press just keep expanding it to the point that everybody thinks we have to think and eat and sleep this indictment. I eat and sleep doing my job. And the indictment will take care of itself.
Were you ever scared? When I heard about it, one of the first things I thought was, I wonder if he's scared.
An innocent man doesn't get scared. I was not scared at all. I was happy to get it, happy the fact that we reached the point where they had made up their mind what they were going to charge me with.
Do you feel like, again, this is a federal indictment, do you feel like it's tarnished your reputation permanently?
No, I don't see why it would. I think I'm entitled to the same presumption of innocence that anyone else has. As a consequence, the verdict's going to be the verdict. I don't see any reason why it should be tarnished.
There's a sense that here we go again. Do you think, did you ever consider stepping down? Was that ever something that went through your mind?
I have nothing to be ashamed of. I'm going to go through the process that is required now because of the charges. But I have nothing to be ashamed of. I know what I've done, and I know I'm not guilty of the charges that they've made.
At this point, do you still consider Bill Allen a friend?
That's just part of the trial. I'm not going to comment on him at all.
Okay. And I know it's part of the trial, but as a person, still consider him somebody that you would call a friend?
That depends on the trial. I really couldn't get into that.
Regardless of what happens with the trial, would it be frustrating and sad that after 40 years of serving the state, if this is one of the things that people take away when they hear the name Ted Stevens, they think federal indictment? Would that anger you?
No. I said a long time ago I wasn't there to write history. I was there to make it. And I think, history will be good to me or bad to me, but I won't be here. I'm not interested in it. I'm interested in doing my job on a day-to-day basis. I have never kept diaries. I've never kept, that's one of my problems right now. I've kept records of what I did, or who I've said to, what to. I don't keep track. I don't keep records of when you call me or when I call you. That is all, I'm looking forward all the time. What's the challenge out there? What are the problems? Can we solve those problems? What is a possible solution?
Big if, but if you had to step down with all of the projects that are being discussed right now with respect to Alaska, would this really affect our state?
I can be replaced. The question is what will happen now? And right now, there's so many things going on that affect Alaska that need experience, that need know-how, that need the capability and the positions I have in the Senate, that I've seriously thought about retiring a couple of times. But I know I cannot do it because the job's not complete.
So you're in it for the long run?
I'm in it for the long run. If I can make it to 120 and still be the Senator of the United States, I'd be the happiest man in the world.
Do you ever regret buying the chalet in Girdwood?
You're getting back now, but we didn't buy it. We traded what we had in town to a lawyer friend of mine for that chalet. We traded a condo in town for equity in that chalet. And that's the first place I ever owned. The first home I ever owned is in Girdwood.
And you still love it? Would you say that?
I don't know. That's the end. I don't know.
Thank you. And of course, stay with CBS 11 News, where we will keep you updated on Senator Stevens' indictment and his upcoming trial.